Hello guys, welcome to another video. Finally, I'm making some progress on this transmission. That's the ongoing saga here. And what it is number one, the consensus at the transmission shop is that my yoke doesn't need a pinhole in it. So what I'm gonna do, see, I cleaned up this yoke really well. Gonna clean it up some more with the brake cleaner, and then I already picked a metal screw to go in there. I'm gonna cut it off once I put it in and then take it back out so that it doesn't go in there too far. But then also around this edge, just in case, I'm gonna put some stuff with my finger, JB Weld, I guess. I don't think this was leaking around the plug, but there's always a chance, so it's good to have something there, I'm guessing. And then this is gonna go back on the drive shaft after like maybe cleaning up and checking those bearings again. But what I'll show you here, I got parts for the tail housing. See, there's a new bushing in there. You can already see that I put my yoke in there just to see how it fits and stuff, and it's pretty tight. Got a new seal here. That looks a little different than the old one, but it is the correct one. And I got some petroleum jelly as an assembly lube. Also got a new gasket for this tail housing. I had ordered a whole kit from Summit Racing, which was actually seemed like a pretty good deal, but when it got here faster than they promised, it turned out that the bushing and the seals just wouldn't fit. So I had to get on the phone with them, and thankfully they were more than fair. They reimbursed me for the cost of the parts. Of course, the shipping cost is gone, but that's fine. They were more than fair with me. So Summit Racing is a company I can recommend if you can get your parts straight, which I wasn't able to do, even with their site, you know. This might almost be enough to get rid of the leak, but I'm gonna put some JB Weld on there for sure. Cut off the end of this screw because I don't know if I want it to go in that far. See that? It's really short now. Gonna use a little bit of brake clean here. Making sure it's extra clean. Probably not recommended to put this stuff on your finger. In this case, I don't need very much. So this is part one of restoring my yoke. But this part, I'm going to like polish it with really fine sandpaper. Yeah, the vinegar actually left a mark on there. I can't feel it, but I can see it. Just a little test fit. So now I gotta go under the truck and make sure it's super clean there. Okay, what you see here is just what I put on to keep the dust out of the transmission, because sometimes it gets windy here. So I put a cover on there. Okay, this doesn't look too bad at all. I don't even think I have to scrape it really. Just a rag and maybe again a little bit of cleaner will go a long way. Now I'm having a hard time believing that this old transmission would have any metric bolts going into it. Here, this is it. 16 is the pitch. Must be this one. 3/8, 16. Yeah, it's 3/8. Plain and simple, should have known. So I'm putting a little bit of the Vaseline on the tap. Whatever dirt comes off there will get stuck in that. So let's go under the truck again. I was showing you this one hole, and then I'm gonna do this off camera. They're all the same anyways. just to clean it out. There shouldn't be any metal coming off, really. Just dirt. Gotta do them all. There's only 6 of them. The last one, guys. The threads are good. They're not excessively dirty. It's almost clean, isn't it? And yeah, I'm doing the bolts as well, just because it's quick and easy, and they're supposed to be torqued. I do this by feel. Feel is no good when you have dirt in the threads. Now, interesting thing to note about this gasket. It appears that it matters which way you put it. See, I could put it this way, but the holes don't line up. So there's only one good way, and this is this way right here. Now I'm going to use some Permatex gray to keep this in place here, and also put it on both sides of the gasket, because I think it can only help. Spread this nice and flat with my finger. I'm going to do the same thing again on this side. This is going to fill all imperfections. That's good enough to put it on. Now I'm going to grab some medium strength Loctite. Put that on too. Let's put that on. I could stick them in any order that I want, but when I tighten them, I go in a crisscross pattern. It's just good practice. All the bolts are in place. That noise you're hearing is my neighbor's car. I don't know why it's so loud. Probably needs a repair. I got the 3/8 drive ratchet here, and I'm gonna go crosswise just to make it like finger tight kind of thing. Right now I'm just using my left hand. Try and do it evenly. I have to use both hands to get better feel for it after. The key is just to tighten it down evenly now. I'm still not tightening this super tight here, because I don't want the silicone to squeeze out completely. I just want it to go flat a little bit. I'll come back in about half hour or so and tighten it a little bit more. So basically I'm ready to install the yoke back on the drive shaft. Now these U-joint cups here, they have needle bearings inside of them, and it's important to be really careful with those, because what happens when you put a magnetized screwdriver in there, you know, they come out. So I was trying to just get this cleaned up just a little bit better in there, but I think I got it pretty good, and I'm just going to grease it and leave it. So here I am, ready to install the yoke back on the drive shaft. I'm using my guillotine. I'll show you the setup. See, here's a socket that is 1 inch 1/18, and up here it's a 3/4. Next step is I put a jack on there. Gotta make sure this is somewhat centered there. That's good. So I can put this up, and then the minute that I start pumping, it should press. If nothing else decides to come apart, double check everything's lined up, shut the valve, it should be okay. Alright, let's see if this is enough. Nope, it's not, but see, it's pretty close. Gotta get the snap ring in there, that's the objective. So I pressed it a little further, forgot to turn on the camera, but now you can see the groove where the snap ring goes. See, I also made a mark here on this cup to align it with this so that it goes in the same spot as it was before. There's also a line on the yoke, I mean a punch mark. Now I flip this whole thing around and we're going to press on there till it doesn't go any further, because then I can put the snap ring in. I think I like these snap rings because I can do it while I'm filming this, but basically with one hand. See? Look like it's gonna go somewhere. No, that's in there. There you have it. Home built hydraulic press. Yay! Works good. Gonna put that transmission mount on. Yeah, that's the perfect block of wood to support the pan without bending it. I'm not sure I can show you all this. Let's at least try. Can you see me? I think you get what I'm doing, right? So I'm just gonna pump this off camera. Those are pretty much the same bearing cups as they are in the front. So I'm just wanting to clean them a little bit without disturbing the needles or anything like that. So I brushed this off. I'm gonna take my needle here and I'm gonna clean the dust seal very carefully because I don't want any junk in there. These all look still pretty good, but some cleaning is definitely called for. So what I do, I just take this, go around here with it, make sure nothing falls inside of there. I'll take my time doing this. I got a rag nearby where I wipe this. Now I feel comfortable enough to wipe this around the edge, always keeping it this way so it doesn't go inside there. So now I take a clean side of the rag and just kind of stuff it in there to dab out whatever dirty grease is in there. Hoping that'll be sufficient. If in the long run this U-joint acts up, it'll be replaced entirely. But I think for the moment that's not necessary. Could also use a Q-tip with some solvent or something on it and do this just as carefully. If you disturb these needle bearings, I mean, they'll all come out. They are just sitting there loosely. There's no retainer or anything like that. So when you do this, just be careful. I think I'm happy with this. Take a blob of grease. Go all around. This is also going to help retain those needle bearings where they are supposed to be. Like I said, at some point I'll have to replace this. For the moment, I think it's good. Clean off this side of it as well. Yeah, if you feel any weird resistance or anything, then you should probably change this. For this one, at this point, it's okay. I don't feel anything like that. It feels nice and smooth. So once again, I'm taking some tape and I'll put it around here. Just because under the truck it might be hard to control this and prevent it from falling out, even with the grease on there. It's just another means of reassurance. It's not perfect, I still have to be careful. So let's have another look at this wonderful drive shaft. I cleaned it up with the steel wool. It's not perfect, doesn't have to be. However, there are weights on here, so this shaft is balanced. And of course, I'm hoping that, you know, with there having been some filler or some sort of putty or something, that this balance is still in existence. See, there's also marks on here where obviously there's some corrosion happening. So this is definitely not a new drive shaft. There's some pitting here. It's probably quite minimal, so I'm not going to worry about it until I actually feel something. In the meantime, I think it'll be just fine. Guys, I'm aware that we need rain. It's going to help with the wildfires, and it's also going to help our garden without me having to pump out more water from EPCOR. But it's not helping with this project here. but it's not going to keep me from putting the drive shaft in there. Now, first step before I drag this down there, look, I jacked up the truck, put it back on these jack stands in the back because that allows me to turn the differential. And I put some mats here. They are corrugated plastic. You probably don't need that if you have a nice clean shop floor. I have a gravel driveway, so this is a lifesaver. Now I'm going to take my little container of Vaseline, because that doesn't affect anything in the transmission. It just kind of melts away after. So I can lubricate my output shaft and the seal, make sure everything's lubricated before I slide that shaft in there. It's not even Vaseline brand, dollar store brand, petroleum jelly, supposedly pure. Put a little bit on my clean pinky finger. I already did this to the seal, but you know, a little bit extra ain't gonna hurt nothing. Another thing I want to do is just brush this off a little bit. So am I ready to get that drive shaft? Which shouldn't be a big deal, but from here I could see that I need to center this shaft a little bit better. See if I can accomplish that. I gotta do this with my leg because, yeah, it's a little tricky when you're fighting with a big gas tank for space. Maybe put the gloves in and wiggle this a bit harder. Quick update, it's not a very nice day out here, but I've gotten this far and I want to try to get this in, so I'll show you what I did. See, the end of this shaft here, it was kind of sharp, so I tapered it just a little more, hoping that this will help align it in the bushing. This is kind of an unforeseen problem, but it makes sense because the bushing is a lot tighter than it was before, and when you slide it in on these splines, well, you know, it might be just a little bit off, and under the truck there's limited room to wiggle it and make it go in. So this has literally been a mud bath. See, I got these 7/16 headed bolts here that I still have to tighten, but I finally got the drive shaft into its position. I'm not sure why it was so hard to get in. I just got to tighten the bolts for these U-joint clamps right now, and then this task is done. So this is another step in the process here. The transmission still has some minor leaks, which I'm gonna address, but probably I'm gonna wait till tomorrow because I'm getting tired of rolling around in the mud. The drive shaft's in. It's rotating freely. Give me a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.